I was asked at my suggestion to talk of two things. One, obsessions of Indian intellectuals, and second, the oral tradition. The two are not related in any ways. In fact, the intellectuals, the kind of intellectuals we are talking about, they don't belong to the oral tradition. They belong to the Western scriptal tradition, written tradition. Anyways, so yesterday we took up the obsessions of Indian intellectuals, and we started by defining obsession, which is being obsessed, that is, some thought is dominating, recurs again and again in the mind, and one is not able to get away from that, where becomes the preoccupation. And intellectual, the word intellectual, which has a great respect in the Western society, legitimately, for good reason. It's a very respectable word. It is derived from intellect, which is defined as both memory and intelligence that lead to the ability to think and reason creatively. That is important, because if you think and reason destructively, then you are a disintellectual rather than intellectual. And so intellectual is a person whose large part of whose mind depends on, employs memory and reason to creatively arrive at certain ideas. And I said that this word, which is very respectable, it has modern day Indian translation is Buddhi-Jivi, which is a bad word. So unlike intellectual, which is a respectable word, Buddhi-Jivi, at least in the masses, ordinary people of India, it is a derogatory term. As I explained, people say Buddhi-Jivi is a person who sells his buddhi for his jivika, for his kamai, roji, which means a Buddhi-Jivi is a Tanjore doll. Whoever pays him the highest price, he will sing his song. And fortunately or unfortunately, India is full of such people. वो पाला बदलने वाले, इधर से उठ के इधर, उधर से उठ के इधर. So it's a bad word. So what is our equivalent for intellectual? And I suggested that the equivalent is Rishi in the tradition. Because a Rishi is a person who does not share the worldly values, is devoted to knowledge, and selflessly works for lok sangrah, welfare of the people, through knowledge. His instrument is knowledge, but he uses knowledge, or he creates knowledge, disseminates knowledge for the welfare of the people. Therefore, in some ways, our Rishis were also teachers, gurus. And to be a man of knowledge, whether you are a Rishi or a guru, in our tradition, you have to be an ascetic, sannyasi. You can't be drinking coffee through the day and scotch in the evening and become a great scholar or a man of knowledge. In that case, you will do nothing for the society. You will do a lot of things for yourself, nothing for society. And I had also given the one word which I think came close to a good teacher, a good rishi, a sannyasi, shishta. A sannyasi by definition is a shishta, who is defined by Patanjali as a person whose worldly goods are constituted by a jar of grain, one single jar of grain. That's all. He, without motive or purpose, devotes himself to a branch of knowledge and excels in it. This is a Shestra. This is a person who works for the welfare of people. And today's intellectual, Buddhi-Jivi, is to be defined as a person whose worldly goods are constituted by, see Appendix 1. There is a long list of his worldly goods. There are flats, there are plots, there are houses, there are FDs, there is one divorced wife, one actual wife, and this is his worldly goods. So that's a Buddhi-Jivi. So we are not talking of, but we are now talking of Indian intellectuals, I said. We are talking in fact actually of Buddhi-Jivi-s. We are not talking Rishis. These days in any case, there is a very great shortage of Rishis. Great shortage of, sannyasis. But Buddhi-Jivis are plenty. So everybody pretends to be or claims to be or operates as a Buddhi-Jivi. Indian intellectual. All of us have seen the newspapers. All of us see the channels, TV channels. And barring a few, I named 3 persons yesterday. Swami Mahapragya ji, Jain Muni, who is no more, Murari Bapu, and Avdeshanand ji, the Mahamandaleshwar of Juna Akhada, who are really men of knowledge, And if you sit down and listen to them, even at the end of 5 minutes of their discourse, you are a different person. So we are talking of Buddhi-Jivis who are plenty. They are in the channels, they are in the newspapers. And it is not really correct to say that they write only in English. Now, even in regional language newspapers and channels, you have the 2 sets. In regional language channels or newspapers, you have a set of people who are fairly close to their country, their land, their culture, and a set of people who, like the English newspaper writers and others, are quite alienated. Now these intellectuals, whom we call Buddhi-Jivi, who are not Rishis, who are more like Bharat Muni's Devtas. I had explained yesterday that a Devta is a person who neither has Samriti, nor ability for Vimarsha, nor any ability for Prayog. So he told Brahmaji, Indra told Brahmaji, that Devtas are no good. Devtas are the typical middle class, today's middle class. Because whenever they are in trouble, they either go to the police station or they try to ring up a minister or a politician for help. They cannot help themselves. The Asuras were the ones who were self-dependent. Devtas were also quite, doubtful in their character. But Asura like Bali, once he gave a vow, he stood by it. That was not the character of the Devtas. Devtas' main job was to shower flowers. Somebody else does the good work and they shower the flowers. So this is today's middle class, and the Buddhi-Jivis belong to that class. If they find a new leader who is important, they will shower flowers on him. They will call him and they will praise him, stuti vachan karenge, and then praise him. So what is the character, what is the function of these intellectuals? I am saying Indian intellectual Buddhi-Jivi because we all must have noticed for the last 20-30 years, more than earlier, although it was always there. I have a feeling that the word Hindu had become a bad word about 40-50 years ago, and it had disappeared from public discourse. You listen to the radio in the morning or anything, the word Hindu will not appear. And the moment you use the word Hindu, or the moment you started reading पाठ करें अगर रामचरितमानस का या Valmiki Ramayana ka, people will say, are you fundamentalist? So even reading a book had become a fundamentalist activity. Your own book. Reading Karl Marx is okay. That means, you are very modern and progressive and so what is the function of these Buddhi-Jivi? What do they do? What do we hear them? They are always bemoaning. They are always bemoaning. They are always full of worry, chintagrast, because everything is wrong in the country. Everything is wrong. So everything needs to be set right. The caste system is bad. Women are ill-treated. Poverty is very poor, bad. Law and order is not there. Police people are corrupt. Politicians are corrupt. Everybody is corrupt except me. So they are always worried. Bichare, they are stressed out by worry. I use the word चिंताग्रस्त रहते हैं. And I said चिंता, चिता, चिंतन सब मिले जुले ही है. गलत चिंतन हो तो वो चिंता बन जाती है, और ज्यादा चिंता हो तो चिता बन जाती है. So, और चिंतन की बैठकें भी होती हैं जो बाद में चिंता की हो जाती हैं, और फिर कुछ पार्टियों के केस में इलेक्शन के बाद चिता भी बन जाती है. ये भी हो जाता है. So you see, the point is that they are chintagrast. Secondly, because they find everything wrong, so they are also heen bhavnagrast. Because they, unfortunately, it is their bad luck that they belong to a country where everything is wrong. They should have belonged to a country where at least the currency was strong, if nothing else. So they belong to a country where everything is wrong or weak. Said that second. And they are bemoaning all the time. Bemoaning. So yesterday I happened to, chance upon, I was looking for a metaphor. Okay, what is their function? वो क्या काम क्या करते हैं समाज में? हमने कहा उनका फंक्शन है रुदाली का. रुदाली एक एशियन कस्टम था मोर्निंग का. दे वर प्रोफेशनल मोर्नर्स. कोई राजा ग्रेट वॉरियर मरता था तो वो रुदाली को बुलाते थे, और वो एक किस्म की नगर वधू होती थी, और वो रिचुअल मोर्निंग करती थी. छाती पीटना, गाना, रोना. छाती पीटना भी मोर्निंग है. So when you are in your words, you are always bemoaning things, you are in fact doing छाती पीटना. ये भी छाती पीटना ही है. तो इंडियन बुद्धिजीवी हर वक्त छाती पीटता रहता है, ये सब खराब है. So their function is that of the Rudali. So Buddhi-Jivi-s are Rudalis. Rajneesh ji, don't think of that film and that beautiful actress. Don't think the Buddhi-Jivi are handsome people. Or who sing so well. They don't even sing well, they sing badly. And so they go on. So that is their function. The difference between a Rudali and a Buddhi-Jivi is, Indian intellectual, the difference is that a Rudali mourns when there is something to mourn. A warrior dies, a king dies, then she mourns. But these people, Buddhi-Jivis, they are mourning all the time without any cause or reason. Without any cause or reason. So as I said कि हमारे जो शिया मुस्लिम भाई हैं, उनका एक कस्टम है, साल में एक दिन मुहर्रम करते हैं, मोर्न करते हैं. और हमारे बुद्धिजीवी रोज मुहर्रम करते हैं, एवरी डे, है ना, वो रोज ही करते हैं. तो ये इनका ऑपरेशनल फंक्शन है. ये उनकी अब पहचान जो है, लक्षण, what are their markers? First of all, they are always worried. So you find them, thoughtful, with a bag, a little beard, unshaven, carefully unattended, unattended in their looks. As Tulsidas said, in Ramcharitmanas, that in Kali Yuga, any man who keeps long hair and a small beard will be considered a thinker, a rishi. And So they are like that, and they have a worried look. Worried look. That's why, when I was teaching in JNU, I would go into the class, and the first thing I would say is, happy? They say happy. Then you should smile then. They should all be smiling. If you don't smile, that means you are something is bothering you. Now, what is the obsession? That is the second marker. Is this, that they are, because they are in a bad country, they are a heen bhavna. Heen bhavna. We belong to a poor country. We belong to a bad country. We belong to a socially backward country. We belong to a developing country, not a developed country. Not really. Now, of course, luckily they think we are developing. At one time we were underdeveloped for a long time. Although it took me some time to realize that the properly underdeveloped people are the Americans and the Britishers and others, because to pass from barbarianism to civilization without the intermediary stage of culture, which is what happened to USA, I mean, they are really underdeveloped. They have to be, I don't think they are as yet in the developing category. They are yet underdeveloped. So, but they call us underdeveloped. It's all right. ठीक है. The developing, and we are quite happy about it, because so long as we say we are developing and underdeveloping, we will get aid from them, and that aid will go to some nice people, some good people. Their children will go abroad. They'll do their PhD there. So long as we are developing. So there are advantages of developing. So हीन भावना है अपने बारे में. ये हीन भावना क्यों है? Why? Because these people have forgotten the great wealth of this country. You see, हमारे यहाँ जो wealth है वो दो प्रकार की है. एक तो धन की और एक ज्ञान की. एक ज्ञान की. इसलिए पतंजलि महाभाष्य वाले, he is portrayed as a manifestation of Sheshanaga. Sheshanaga. And in the Chidambaram temple and Patanjali, because Sheshanaga is the guardian of wealth. And what greater wealth than knowledge? Patanjali is the guardian of knowledge. So that is, he is the guardian of jnana. Now that wealth, at one time we had the other wealth also, right till 18th century. 26% of world's gross national product was Indian, 30% Chinese. Today I think it is like Alprex tablet 0.25, like compose. I mean, we have gone to that level, but at one time we had the wealth of gold and silver. If you read if you look at the Roman maps, Roman maps made around 1st century AD, and the maps are about Narmada river and the central India and Vindhyachal and some other maps, and a Roman map about India also. Ptolemy's map of India. So they made a lot of maps about India. Why? Because they had nothing. So for diamonds and emeralds and rubies and gold and silver, they came to India. Ship Tyre, there is a book, Ship Tyre, a Roman ship that would come to India in the southern ports in search of wealth. Now, somebody asked me, sir, once outside in, I think, Dublin, how is it that India lacks cartography? The Indians didn't make maps. I said, why does one make maps? Maps are to track a route. Now, why do you track a route? Because you want to go somewhere. Why do you want to go somewhere? Because you want to get something. Why do you want to get that thing? Because you don't have it. Unfortunately, we had everything. So, we didn't have to go anywhere. So, we did not make maps. But you made maps. So you came looking for us, looking for our places. A Roman map maker notes that on the higher reaches of Narmada, in the morning in villages, there are, mandis, markets, where rubies and emeralds and diamonds are sold like vegetables. ढेर लगे हुए हैं, 5 रुपए किलो डायमंड्स, इमेजिन. 10 रुपए किलो rubies. Now for a false ruby we pay, I don't know how much, 100,000 rupees. Anyways, the point is that the heen bhavna comes because you have forgotten your wealth. You have the world's largest number of intellectual texts, more than in Sanskrit, more than those in other languages put together. You name a discipline, modern or new or ancient, and you have primary grantha, primary texts in all those disciplines. If you look at the details of a World Sanskrit Conference, which happens every 4 years. Now it has started happening here in India and Asia, South Asia, etc. But earlier it used to happen only in Europe or Japan. And it was not started by RSS, World Sanskrit Congress, 1896 or something. It was started by the European scholars. There is no international 4-year conference on Latin or on Greek, but on Sanskrit. Why? Because of the wealth of knowledge. In 19th century, Harvard Oriental series, 90 or 91 Indian texts were translated into English. Then Max Muller series, 53 texts were translated into English. Later on they were translated into so many other languages. So at least 134 Indian texts in 19th century they felt like translating. It's a great tribute to our heen bhavna that we have hardly translated them in our Indian languages. We have not translated them into Indian languages because we, it's like, that gentleman who went to a German Indian manuscript museum, Indian manuscripts. They are well kept. They are kept so well. Germans in any case are very methodical. Remember Karl Marx being asked why a revolution does not take place in Germany or did not take place in Germany. Why do you propose it elsewhere? He said, well, the problem with Germans is if you tell the workers to burn the railway station, they will first queue up and buy the platform ticket. So how do you expect them to create a revolution? So they do things very methodically. So the museum, they have Indian manuscripts are kept so carefully. Each manuscript separately under light in a vacuum, and there is a ticket, and the person who goes in is searched and who comes back is searched. Now this Indian was, of course, he bought a ticket and he was not searched when he went in, and he was not searched when he came out. He was very happy. He said, I'm glad I know why you don't search me, because after all these are our manuscripts. He said, no. We don't need to search you because we know you don't know their value. If you had known their value, you would not have let us bring them. So we don't search you because we know you will not take it away. You don't know its value, so we don't know the value. Heen bhavna. And I said yesterday, 10 million manuscripts are still there. 10 million manuscripts. And sir, kindly visit, go to Dwarka Oriental Institute. The manuscripts are piled as diamonds and rubies were piled in the source of Narmada at one time. They are piled. Dust and dirt gathers around them. There are piles of manuscripts. Piles of manuscripts. You see, nobody takes care. Nobody takes care. So much is to be done. But then we are not interested. Because we are a developing country. That means our currency should become rich and our mind should become poor. The more poor your mind is, the richer your currency will be. Because then you will hardly care for anything. You don't care these days whether your children are learning a package philosophy in life, 10 lakh, 15 lakh, or are they learning to be happy? We don't care. So that is the problem. Heen Bhavana Grast, that is the second feature. And they have Heen Bhavana because they suffer from Hanuman syndrome, I said. What is Hanuman syndrome? Hanumanji on Rameswaram, he forgot his strength. He was sitting there like an ordinary Vanar. Then Jambant reminded him. He said, you don't know. He was cursed that you will forget your strength till somebody reminds you. Till somebody reminds you. And I don't know who cursed us, but the Indians are cursed. We have forgotten our strength. So our Buddhi-Jivi-s particularly, they are ग्रस्त हनुमान सिंड्रोम, सफरिंग फ्रॉम हनुमान सिंड्रोम. चलिए इस बहाने हनुमान जी का नाम तो जुड़ा उनके साथ, बुद्धिजीवियों के साथ, नहीं तो दे विल कॉल हिम मंकी एंड द हनुमान सेतु इज कॉल्ड मंकी ब्रिज. Look at this translation. Look at this, how much lack of understanding we have. You see, whether this somebody made a mistake some time back. वानर को बंदर कर दिया, वन नर को, जंगल के आदिवासी को बंदर बना दिया, वो बंदर ही बन गया, मंकी बन गया फिर इंग्लिश ट्रांसलेशन में. और फिर उसको मुंह कर दिया, फिर उसको पूंछ लगा दी, रिप्रेजेंटेशन खराब बना दिया. चला जो भी है, बट हनुमान जी लुक्स गॉर्जियस एज ही इज, even as a monkey god, he is wonderful. He is wonderful because he has so many forms. Rupa, he is a scholar, he is a strong man, he is a bhakta. You go to various temples, you have those images. Greatest creativity of Indian people is among those who are not been educated by this system, by those artists who draw portraits for the calendars. Or you travel in Delhi, during Durga Puja time, there will be beautiful statues. You know who makes them? Muslim artisans. Muslim artisans. They are not studied. They made such beautiful, statues, images. And creatively, they modify, they change, they develop. So, Hanuman syndrome is the third marker of the Buddhi-Jivi. ठीक है sir? And the fourth marker, according to me, there is the Titiri complex. As I said yesterday, we don't have Electra complex or Oedipus complex. They are too complicated for us to understand for the Buddhi-Jivis. But we have a Titiri complex. Titiri is a small bird. It has two legs like all birds and small. At night it sleeps with its two legs facing the sky because it believes that it worries. वो भी चिंताग्रस्त रहता है टिटीरी भी कि if the sky falls at night, what will happen to mankind? So I will keep it up. So these Buddhi-Jivis are titiris. They think if they don't work, they don't talk, they don't criticize, they don't abuse, what will happen to Indian society? So they are saving the Indian society like the titiri. So these are their four markers. And their trade, vyapar, is rubbishing Hindus. This is their trade. I mean, I don't mind being rubbished also, because I think I am too much to be rubbished. No amount of rubbing can really rubbish me. But the point is that what is their trade? What do they criticize? What do they find wrong? It has everything to do with Hindu society. Hindu society, Hindu symbols, Hindu modes of worship, Hindu idols, and Hindu belief system, Hindu values. For them, everything about this is wrong. So this is their trade. So day in and day out, because you don't find them talking about any other system. I don't say that they should. I am the last person to abuse or criticize others, because वो क्या है, today luckily Rajneesh ji is there, he can always give the correct quotation, that वो क्या के बुरा जो देखन में चला बुरा न मिलिया कोई मुझसे बुरा ना कोई, जो खोजा आप में मुझसे बुरा ना कोई. So this is the Hindu system. We don't go and find faults with other people. We feel that we have the faults. Let us first correct ourselves, because the purpose of knowledge for us is not exercising control over others, but exercising control over ourselves. So I don't want that they should, but then they should have the perspective. Have the perspective. The minimum that one expects is that they should know that every society, every social system has its flaws, its shortcomings. It is natural when there are so many human beings, you see, then in actual conduct, practice, there will be weaknesses, shortcomings, criminality. Because as Hazlitt said, there is a moral man and there is also a criminal man. They will always be there. And because they are always there, and they are not there right across the society. You can't say all Christians are bad, all Muslims are bad. You can't say all Hindus are bad. When a system is so large, so diverse, whenever you find fault, you have to identify that in which area, which place. You see, for example, sati, Jauhar was a ritual in Rajasthan. It didn't happen anywhere else. And sati happened in Bengal in 19th century, and it happened in Rajasthan once in a while. Once in a while. But no Hindu Shastra, no text, not even Rig Veda sanctions sati. This should be pointed out. And the first sati, the person whose name Sati gave name to the custom, incinerated herself when her husband was alive, not dead. You see? So when people criticize, they should at least inform about these things. They don't. First of all, they don't know. Oh Lord, forgive them. They do not know they do not know anything. Lord, forgive them. They do not know anything. Not only what they do, but they do not know anything. So that is what one expects. So their trade is Hindus, criticizing Hindus, Hindu society. हिंदुओं में बैकवर्डनेस बड़ी है, हिंदुओं में अंधविश्वास इज ब्लाइंड बिलीफ. हिंदुओं में कर्मकांड बड़ा है, क्रियाकर्म बड़ा है इनमें. रोज उठ के करते हैं, या रोज उठ के ऐसे करते हैं, या रोज उठ के दिया जलाते हैं. प्रेशियस ऑयल इज वेस्टेड. मैनी पीपल से दैट when a land which is sacred land which has been redeemed, you should open a hospital there and not make a temple. And such suggestions are given only to foolish Hindus. कि आप अपना अस्पताल बना दो, शौचालय बना दो, सचिवालय बना दो, है ना. मंदिर की क्या जरूरत है? मंदिर की क्या जरूरत है? What is the need for मंदिर? Why? You see, it is all right, you build a huge building to house one dead person. But it is not proper to build a beautiful building to house a God. That's not proper. God lives in the heart. This is also very interesting. For Hindus, God, Bhagwan to dil mein rehta hai. You see, I remember long time back a debate when we were raising some money. So I happened to ask the person that, but what do you think? Shouldn't the temple be built? He said, sir, if you ask me, I believe God lives in the heart. What beautiful thought. You have educated me. The problem is other people's God is a घुसपैठिया. he 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 doesn't live even in his own house. And there was a Persian, there is an article which I want our young friends to read. It's by San Singh Sekho. San Singh Sekho was a leftist intellectual, Sikh intellectual. This is not a contradiction in terms. In fact, most Sikhs are either warriors. Whatever they start doing, they excel in it. Either warriors, they are Guru Gobind Singh. And if they are men of knowledge, then they are something Sekho. Extremely good. He has an article, Tragic Dimension of Islam in India. Sir, kabhi dekhne wala article hai. I think it was published in a book by Punjab University, Chandigarh. He says there was a Hindu Persian poet of the 14th or 15th century who says, look at the grandeur of my temple. Even when it is destroyed, it still houses a god. This was a Hindu Persian poet who said. So you see, this is the eclecticism, at the same time it is the acceptance, tolerance, whatever. Many people say, you see, the Hindus are abused and criticized because Hindus accept all this, they are tolerant, they should not. And when you argue that they should not, I have met some people, and honest, good Hindus, who say perhaps Hinduism has survived not because it was only a fighter, but because of this also. Because many civilizations have disappeared. If everything was so bad with the Hindu society, it couldn't have survived for 5,000 years. So there are something, we have to discover that. What is that source, स्रोत, ऊर्जा का, एनर्जी का सोर्स क्या है? One is very clear. One स्रोत of urja for Hindu society is knowledge, jnana. It's jnana, it's knowledge. As I enumerated yesterday, we have the world's first composition book, Rig Veda. We have the world's first poetry, world's first prose, world's first science of phonetics, world's first grammar, world's first book of mathematics, world's first book of polity. No? Polity. So, we have enormous range of, and it's not we are not used to, we are modest people, we are not used to counting this. We are the first and we are the first. But this habit has been given to us in the 19th century by the other scholars who started, doing relative chronology. Relative chronology. There is no need for relative chronology. You see, Plato is Plato, or Einstein is Einstein. It doesn't matter if somebody and Copernicus or he is Copernicus. It doesn't matter if Aryabhat also said the same thing. We don't have to say we are the first. But then we didn't have this habit. We have been taught this and we are very good students of the West these days, disciples. We accept. We are, as I said, import-export society now. We export our virtues, import our vices. So that is how we are now developing. So let's hope one day we will be developed. Now in their trade, in this vyapara of rubbishing Hindu society, what are the things that they rubbish day in and day out? What are their punch bags? Punch bags. Boxer के होते हैं ना? So the बुद्धिजीवी की एक और term है boxers. So उनका punch bags क्या है? पहला तो है caste. Caste. The moment you use the term caste for varna, you move away from the core semantics. Varna, the word varna is also used for color. color. And just as when you are painting your house or when you are painting wood, you ask the painter to bring the color sheet. In the color sheet, at no point you can separate one color from the other. As you move gradually, the color changes. These days in the computer also, if you go to color and you say other colors and then you say custom, then you go on the blue, you start moving, from one color you move to another. At no point you say now it becomes this. So Varna is a continuum. It is a continuum in color. It is a continuum in sound. In sound also. There is no one point where the short E ends and long E begins. Same what we call short E, if it is at the end of a syllable, it becomes long E. And the long E, when it is in the middle of a word, it becomes a short E. So there is no point. So these are the continuum. In other words, no one is separate from the other. In the same way, Varna, with reference to people, is a continuum. There is a Shudra, there is a Brahmin in all of us, there is a Kshatriya in all of us, there is a Vaishya in all of us, and there is a Shudra in all of us. When we are, let us say, making something, and Shudra was also the name of a race, and Shudrak is the name of a dramatist. Isn't it? And one Upanishad says, Janam Brahma Janati Brahmana. It says that everybody who is born is a Shudra. In what sense? Everybody. Even the so-called Brahmin, when he is born, in the beginning, he is a Shudra because he does not have knowledge. So the parameter for Varna, one is knowledge. The more knowledge you gain, more competent you become, you change your functions and you move from one level to the other. And the Varna system was a very, very mobile system. So-called upward mobility was very much there. Right up to that MacDonald, who he was, Ramsay MacDonald, who in 1932 made a census of caste and all that, and started codifying. There was no fixed. It was a functional division. Functional division, and this functional division is in all societies, all systems. In the book we prepared for CBSE, Knowledge, Traditions and Practices of India, class 11 and 12, we have quoted a 16th century Muslim scholar who divides the Muslim society exactly according to those four functions. Names are not given. In Aristotle's polity, you have the people who till the land, you have the people who fight, and you have the people who lead and trade, and the fourth section you have is of serfs. You see, serfs, and 5 units are there. There is a fifth one. So every society has this division. Now we made this system, in a way because the Indians, remember, you see, the only ancient people who codified their knowledge and systems, codified, you understand? For systematize karte the. So we systematize this functional division. You read Mahabharata, the requirements on a Brahmin are so strong, so rigorous. It's very difficult to be a Shri Ram Sharma. It's not easy. But for a Kshatriya it is less difficult. For a Vaishya it is still less difficult. And for a Shudra it is still less difficult. It all depends on the kind of work you do. How much time do you have? How much time do you have at your disposal? What are your sources of livelihood? So if you have some money left by your parents or by your family or something, then you can sit down, spend your time reading. You don't have to run around like the busy priests I told you in the morning. You don't have to run around. But then if you have nothing, you have to work for your livelihood. Then from morning to evening, from hand to mouth. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, to talk of God to a hungry man or a poor man is an insult. You see, is an insult. So it was a mobile division, it was a functional division. It got codified because we have the Dharma Shastras. This is one of the tragedies of Hindus. Their ancient books are still intact. 3000 साल पुरानी किताब है, मिल जाती है और ये पढ़ने लग जाते हैं. And they start reading. And they start reading with their contemporary mindset. अरे बड़ा गलत है. In their own books they historicize. Their own books they historicize. You know what is historicize? Biography of the book, biography of the writer, biography of the age. And then they say. But they think Indian books a lot. They will talk of Manu Samriti, as if Manu is a post-Indian constitution. So they take Manu in. Although Manu is much superior than the so-called Indian constitution. Narasimha Rao once said, we are modern Manus. I felt so bad about it. I wish though you were even a small part of Manu. Because Nietzsche said that Manu Samhita is a much greater book than the Bible. Remember? You see? And you read it. The tragedy is that the contemporary Buddhi-Jivi-s, they talk about the book but they do not read the book. I think the first thing is you should read the book and then talk about it. This is called meta study. Meta study. That is, you talk about the book. Not in the book. Read the book. So then this is the caste codified. Because it is codified, anything which gets codified. No. For example, spoken Sanskrit in the Vedic times. Spoken Sanskrit. Panini in his grammar never says I am writing a grammar of Sanskrit. He says I am writing a grammar of Bhasha. Bhasha is from Bhasha, root Bhasha, which means to produce sound. Some people even say to produce sound like a dog. Bhasha. Bhasha. And he says I am writing the grammar of Bhasha and of a chandas, of compositional language. Modern linguists make a distinction between the spoken language and written language. That's what he was doing. That I am writing the grammar of spoken language and I am writing the grammar of the written language. Compositional. I say compositional because we don't have the notion of writing. Not that the writing was not there, but it was composed. And when you compose, for example, I am now composing. And therefore, most of my sentences are complete or nearly complete. But when I am conversing, talking, then sometimes they use only one word, sometimes 3 words, sometimes the verb is missing. So there is a difference. My tone is different. My tone is changing far more now than it does in ordinary speech. So he says I am writing grammar of Bhasha and this. So you are writing a grammar of Bhasha. Now and compositional language. Once you compose, let's say a work or a book from the spoken language, that language becomes codified. codified. That's what I mean codified. Now, for example, T.S. Eliot's poetry, Gerontium and T.S. Eliot's poetry. Do you think any Englishman in those days spoke that English? No. No, because no that East London speaker, Cockney speaker, like that flower girl in My Fair Lady, uttered German words or Latin words or French words in his English sentence, like Eliot does. But Eliot's English is Sanskrit English. But that doesn't mean English was not a spoken language. It was a spoken language. There was a Prakrit English. So every language has a Prakrit and a Sanskrit Rupa. So the Prakrit Rupa was Bhasha and Sanskrit Rupa is the Chandas, language of the Vedas, Rig Veda. It's a coded language. Coded language. It's not as transparent. It's not transparent like the spoken language. It is a Sandhya Bhasha. It is the twilight language. You can get so many meanings from there. In the same way, a system, a societal division which made the society cohere and there was a distribution of labor possible, that system was codified by Manu. Once it became codified, just as the compositional language becomes fixed, in the same way, the spoken language keeps changing, but the compositional language becomes fixed. In the same way, the codified social system became fixed, but the normal system kept on changing. So much so today, you have a Sharma shoe store. Now, how can you have a Sharma shoe store or Kapoor chaat bhandar? So, the social system has moved, but the codified system has remained. And a codified system, you see, in the case of language, again, one of the things our Buddhi-Jivi-s are ignorant of. The spoken Sanskrit kept on changing, and the compositional Vedic language became fixed. After a lapse of hundreds or thousand years, the compositional language was no longer understood by people because the spoken language had changed. So Yaska, 9th century BC, he had to write a book, Nirukta, Nirvachana, to explain how the words in the Vedic text, which are no longer understood, how they are to be understood, what is their meaning. He developed a whole science of interpretation. You see? In the same way today, we need to interpret the caste system. Interpret the caste system. And remember, you see, the critics of caste system and there have been many, and there are many. Since Lord Buddha, there have been critics of caste system. कुछ बात है कि हस्ती मिटती नहीं इसकी. Why is it that from Buddha to Mahatma Gandhi, everybody finds fault, but your constitution makers consider it necessary to give it a constitutional status? The system. So you have to interpret how, why it is useful. Why it is useful. That's important. Right? And remember, sir, modern critics often say caste is a race, ethnic. It's not. It's not ethnic. Jati nahi hai. There are more than 1,60,000 jatis in India. More than 1,60,000 jatis. But there are only 4 varnas. 4 varnas. All those 1,67,000 jatis, all the 100 crores of Hindus, they all fall into 4 sets. See the cohesive function. How you reduce the multiplicity to progressive through jati, then through varna, right? And Mauryas, knew this. Mauryas knew this. So in Mauryan administration, the king was not free. King had to obey the Sabha, the advisory council. The advisory council was made up of 35 persons. It was a 35-member advisory council. In that 35 members, 3 were Brahmins, 8 Kshatriyas, 21 traders, Vaishyas, 21, and 3 Shudras. So there were as many Shudras in the Sabha as Brahmins. This is the caste system. And Megasthenes, talks of a Greek Saculum Diodorus who came to India, and he writes something very interesting. He says, Megasthenes quotes him, I hope I can find it. I did write it yesterday or day before somewhere, but I don't think I am going to find it. So you'll have to forget it, you'll have to depend on my memory. Yeah. Saculus Diodorus says, I'll read this. This is from Megasthenes. It's quoted by R.C. Majumdar in his book. Okay. Of several remarkable customs existing among the Hindus, there is one prescribed by their ancient philosophers. He is already 1st century AD or BC. Ancient philosophers, which one may regard as truly admirable. You know what is that? For the law ordained, ancient law ordained, that no one among them shall under any circumstances be a slave. No one of them under any circumstances shall be a slave. But that enjoying freedom, they shall respect the principle of equality. Principle of equality in all persons, have learnt neither to domineer over others nor cringe before others. Don't know what cringe over others. It is one of the law on the basis of equality, and yet to establish equality in social. It will be strange to establish the law of equality and allow inequalities in social intercourse. See, do we have anything remarkable like this in any law, any society? And look at from Aristotle's polity, where slaves are a part, to 1863, when that great man who should have been born in India, Abraham Lincoln, when that great man put an end to slavery. There was slavery in the Western society as an accepted custom. Accepted custom. And today we are getting lessons from them. We are being told to respect human rights and unjust justice. Compare this. Till 1863, sir, shiploads of Africans were tied up in chains and brought to states to work as slaves. Till 19th century. Then once I had happened to speak in the House of Lords on democracy and polity, and I told them that we taught you these things. Don't think you invented them. In fact, you never had them. Even states, nation states. Where were the nation states in Europe till Bismarck's empire? Till Bismarck 1871, there were no nation states. And now we are being told India is not a nation. Because India doesn't have one ethnicity, one language, one religion, which is the defining parameter of a nation state in modern nation states. But we don't use that word at all. But the Buddhi-Jivi-s use the word nation. India is a nation in the making. But India is a Desha. Desha is a geographic term. And India is a Rashtra. It is a geo-cultural knowledge term. You know, the knowledge which is created Adi Shankaracharya from Kaladi in Kerala, the Advaita, the non-dualism, it spread right across Asia. Right across Asia. So we build a system. We have a state of ideas, a state of knowledge, and not a state of political power. Political boundaries never mattered in this country. You know, they never interfered in the movement of people, in the movement of rishis, sannyasis, traders and thinkers. You see, we have only talked of the of one punch bag, the caste system. But our Chintagrast Buddhi-Jivi-s have many things to worry about. Among other things, they worry about the so-called minority, in spite of the constitution saying everybody is equal. They worry about women and the gender and patriarchy. Patriarchy, which in fact is not at all our Indian core concept. And they also worry about so-called communalism, by which they mean Hindu communalism and nobody else's communalism. And they also worry about any banning, any censorship. Any banning, any censorship. Again, any banning or censorship of any mischief done with Hindus. Nothing else. You see? And then they also worry about environment. So the Hindu festivals like Holi and Diwali, they create a lot of pollution. In other words, whatever the non-English speaking Indians do, Hindus do, that is polluting. And what English speaking Hindus do, like New Year, midnight before the New Year, they drink and dance in the Connaught Place, that's okay. That sound pollution doesn't matter. But the Pataka pollution is bad. So, and they also worry about language. You see, English language. How a dead language, Sanskrit, according to them. Although no language is dead because we don't know when it was born. So dead and born are organic. But they worry about Sanskrit, about Indian languages. Because what is there? English. They worry about English. And after this, they also worry about some transient issues. Whatever they get to rubbish the Hindu society. For example, these days the farmers and the land. And none of those even knows what a hoe, how a hoe is different from a plow. Ask them, they don't know, but they are worried about farmers. You see, and their heart weeps. Sonia Gandhi these days is, sort of absolutely emotional about farmers. And then you have, after this we have to ask ourselves, what is the mental ancestry of these people? From where they come? Their roots, their lineage. Their roots and lineage are in the 19th century British liberalism, which was a wonderful system for 19th century Britain, but is causing problems to them today. But it came to India not as a wonderful system. It came as an instrument of evangelism, and as an instrument of political domination, colonialism. And you had willing Indians like Raja Ram Mohan Roy who took to them. And liberalism was used to rubbish Hindu society exactly along these lines. Caste system, idol worship and so on and so on. Anybody who reads Vivekananda. Then there was a response, Indian response. There was Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, there was Swami Dayanand Saraswati, there was Vivekananda, there was Aurobindo, and there are others. But the line continued and it was reinforced by Macaulay's education. This thinking, Macaulay's education is very interesting. what Macaulay said in the House of Commons. He said 97% literacy in India. There are 2,10,000 schools in India. Huh? And then the Prime Minister of England said in the House of Commons, 2,10,000 schools. And England has only 15,000. Not even 15,000, less. 97% illiteracy, literacy. And England has only 12%. And then Macaulay said, so if you want to rule them, you have to destroy their education. You have to destroy their knowledge system. That there's a faith in themselves like this. So this was the lineage. Now what really these Buddhi-Jivi-s, then next we will come to from the response and Macaulay education, how it has reinforced this. Then we come to what fundamental mistake these people are making. What fundamental omission is there? The omission is that they have forgotten that the Hindu system of ideas is the only alternative to the Hebraic system. There are two knowledge cultures in the world, Hebraic and Vedic, and the Vedic knowledge culture, in the fundamental drivers are different. For example, the definition of God, the definition of nature, the definition of man, the definition of being, other beings, the definition of time, and the definition of duty, and the definition of values. These differ fundamentally. And you forget them, then what you are trying, it is important to save the Hindu system of thought, not only for the sake of Hindus, but for the sake of the world. Because this alternative system alone is the solution to the crisis which is looming. Either you are going to have a robotic world, or you are going to have an Armageddon and the world will be destroyed. So for that you need your system of ideas. Thank you very much.